This is a very special episode because I have with me a dear friend, Anna. She came to me as a student in 2021 and we quickly became friends. She has worked incredibly hard for the past several years to improve her English, and she received a C2 level after taking an English proficiency exam last year. She's currently a university student in Germany studying American Studies and Spanish. So today we are going to discuss Anna's English journey, and she's going to share with you her advice for learning, as well as some useful tips you can use yourself. Thank you for joining me, Anna.
Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Anna, and if you're watching this, we probably have something in common because English is not my native language. So I've been studying English for a long time, I'd say. But I'm really glad to be here today and hopefully give you some useful advice how you can progress even further.
So, to give the audience some context, tell us about your English journey, like how you started, when you started, and what it's looked like up till now.
Okay, so in my country, it's really common to start learning English at an early age. So I started learning English when I was, I think, like 8 years old at my elementary school. So we mostly focused on grammar and vocabulary and maybe some English songs. And that continued all the way up to high school. After that, I took kind of a break learning English because I started working in retail, so English wasn't really like the thing you necessarily needed to work there. So I kind of lost some years, unfortunately. But after that, after working for a few years there, I decided that I really wanted to go to university to study more and learn more. So, and in order to do that, I had to go back to high school. And English is really crucial at high school. So, you really need a good knowledge of English. Think at least B2, if not C1. C1 would be better. um, but yeah, so I studied really, really hard. Fortunately, I was able to quit my job a few months before I enrolled in high school. That allowed me to really study English intensely for 8 hours a day, like for 3 or 4 months. That was also in 2021 when we met and became friends. So after completing that, I felt really confident, and it really paid off at high school, having learned so much already before.
And so, what are you doing with English now?
So right now I'm in a bachelor's degree at college. So I'm studying American Studies and Spanish. And it's really English, even how could I describe that? I'd say it's even more advanced than before. So like we really try to figure out every tiny bit of English, and not only English, but also like the history of the United States and also from Britain and Ireland. Also even phonetics and linguistics. Really like it. It's really interesting.
So, everyone wants a roadmap.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to follow a path
hmm
that someone decides for them, but you're largely self taught. How did you decide what to do?
So honestly, I didn't really think about it that much in the beginning because I took a look at the areas I wanted to improve, which was everything. So reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And I just started dedicating 8 hours a day just learning English. So I do some grammar exercises. After that, I would switch to a YouTube video from an English teacher. After that, I would maybe pick up an English book and start reading there, and also always listening. Really like the immersion of a language. So I think it helps a lot when you get in contact with the language a lot.
So you had a specific goal in
Mhm.
mind. Did you ever feel like you weren't progressing fast enough? Because a lot of learners deal with feelings of frustration. And so I'm curious, did you experience frustration with your progress? And if so, what did you do to manage that and keep going?
Definitely. So, one thing I clearly remember is when I started reading my first English book. It was The Fault in Our Stars, and it was so overwhelming because I don't know which level I was at, maybe a B1. I'm not entirely sure, but it had some really sophisticated words like surgeon and that kind of stuff. And it was really difficult for me to understand everything. But I noticed that I was able to understand the overall context. So that helped me keep going. So I think it was just short, brief moments of frustration, which I pushed through for my higher goal for going to college. And I did everything to get that and to get there.
So you felt that emotion, acknowledged it, but just
Yeah, I just brushed it off and kept going.
you didn't really give it any meaning. It's
No,
just, oh,
no.
I'm feeling
Yeah,
this.
so it's there. Yeah, let's
Mhm.
continue.
And then let's continue. Let's move on. That's great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Another really common question I get from learners is how do I practice speaking if I'm too shy? What advice would you give for people who are struggling with shyness?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I was really shy. Like, I remember our first class, and I was terrified before it because I don't know, I was really afraid that I couldn't understand you, you couldn't understand me, and yeah. But after having met you, I was really encouraged. And at the beginning, I would practice a lot by myself. So, what I found really helpful was shadowing. So, just repeating bits and phrases from native English speakers or teachers. Also, what you can do on yourself easily would be to practice imaginary conversations. Now, you could imagine like going to the doctor in English and try to get through it in your hands and kind of predict the answers and questions you'd be giving or asking. That's kind of really helpful. And after that, I just moved on and got in touch with real people. I think it also helped me to switch my brain and stop translating because it's kind of really difficult to stop translating if you're just used to one language. And it leveled up my English so much when I could finally stay in English and didn't have to translate at all.
Were there other ways that you created immersion for yourself, like in your daily life?
Yeah, definitely. So even nowadays, what I notice, like when I'm alone and I don't know, just strolling outside or something, and I see something, it often comes to mind in English, not in my native language anymore. And that's so fascinating because you would think that it's not possible if you don't live in an English speaking country and be immersed 24/7, but it's possible.
This is something I try to tell my students that you can create your own immersion. You
Hmm.
don't have to be in the country to
Yeah,
be immersed. And
yeah,
but you have visited the US. You came
yeah,
to fun fact for the audience. So Anna came to my wedding back
yeah.
in 2022,
Was
and that
amazing.
was your first time outside of Germany
Yeah,
in an English speaking country on a
yeah.
plane. Lots of firsts. Can you talk a little bit about your experience being around native speakers where no one spoke German and,
Yeah,
that experience?
yeah, it was so helpful for me because I had to use English. So I couldn't get away with using my native language anymore. And I was really surprised how helpful and kind everyone was because everyone kind of took me with them and showed me around and spoke to me. I really enjoyed every bit of it. I gotta come back.
Yeah, I really hope you can one day
Yeah,
and you can experience Florida and also, practice more than your English here.
yeah,
You can also practice Spanish.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have reached the goal that so many learners strive for. You officially achieved a C2 level of English, which is near native fluency. So, what biggest piece of advice do you have for people who are trying to do the same?
So my biggest piece of advice is be kind to yourself because it's really hard to learn a foreign language, especially if you don't live in the country where they speak your target language. So there will be good days, there will be bad days, but the more you're able to incorporate your target language into your daily life, your hobbies, your personality even, the easier it will become over time. So be kind, keep going, you can do it. I believe in y'all.
I love that. Yes, I absolutely agree with that 100%. So, before we wrap up, I have a quick lightning round for you.
I'm ready.
So here's some quick questions for you. What language do you think in?
It depends, actually.
Mm.
Um, so at college, I'd say English, sometimes Spanish, and sometimes German
So that's at school. What about at home?
at home. It depends. Like when I talk to my family and friends, usually German. Because they talk to me in German. When I'm off by myself, it kind of depends what I'm doing. Like I study English and Spanish every day. So whatever I'm studying, it's the language I'm in.
So what language do you dream in?
Oh, okay. English. It's English
Oh,
most of
okay.
the time. Yeah.
Fascinating. What language do you want to learn one day but can't right now?
Oh, okay. It's Chinese and French. So I've already started learning Chinese a little bit, but it's really hard because everything is so different. So I have all those characters and tones, but I really like it. So it kind of triggers me a little bit. And I'm curious to learn more and new things every day.
So why French?
French. I'm really curious about French in general because like it borders on my country. So I've always wanted to visit France, but I don't want to visit France unless I can speak the language, at least to some degree, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it also shows the people there that you really care about their language and that you're not just some tourist who wants to get by.
Absolutely. I agree. Final question. What language sounds the prettiest to you?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say French. I really like the sound of French.
French and Italian, I think, are
Yeah,
very just musical languages.
yeah, but also
Yeah.
Spanish. Like I love Spanish music.
So would you say between French and Spanish, which one wins out?
I'd say French though.
French. Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Anna. To our audience, if you learned something from today's podcast, give us a like or a comment. Say hello to Anna. And if you think today's episode will help someone you know learning English, make sure to tell them about it. We're all here to help each other. So thanks for being here. Until next time, bye.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye.